This is the story of Dr. Herbert West, a story I only now write with great reluctance and extreme terror. This terror is not entirely due to the sinister events of his disappearance, but to the hideous memories I must retell. I won't fail to mention that while he was with me, the scientific wonder of his diabolical experiments fascinated me utterly. Now he is gone and the spell is broken. I feel time constricting around me as the anniversary of the doctor's disappearance draws ever closer. I must retell for fear that humanity face a fate worse than that of the mad Dr. West.
Wes?
Yeah, Doc.
Well, have you finished looking over the notes? What do you think?
From what I understand, it seems kind of far-fetched to me, but all the logic adds up. And I've seen what it can do. If this works out, it could be a huge scientific breakthrough.
I'm glad you agree. I'm going to need your help.
I couldn't help but notice you left out the state of the guinea pig or us subject.
Nonsense. The test was a success, and now that my hand has stopped bleeding, the pain is barely even noticeable. Now how should I introduce you?
Wait, I can't help you. For once, you can forget about pulling me into these morbid experiments. I have a job to do here. Can't you find another student or a colleague?
You know these plebes don't take my ideas seriously. They've closed their minds even before they had a chance. That's why I need you, Wesley. You have the drive where others haven't. You have courage to face the unfaceable. Did you bring your keys?
I'll admit I've been fascinated by your theories, and it's nothing to land a hand every now and again. This isn't nothing. This is something.
I understand. Then I hope you won't mind joining me for lunch?
Herb, that's Dr. Halsey. You said we were going to have lunch.
It can still be true. We have all afternoon. Gentlemen, allow me to introduce myself.
Enough, Mr. West. What do you have for us this time?
Dr. Herbert West, if you wouldn't mind. And my assistant...
Wes. Or Wesley. Wes is fine.
Wesley. Gentlemen, as you know, I have always been interested in the nature of life and death. In fact, life, dismissing the theory of the so-called soul, seems to be a chemical and physical process. Life has a mechanistic nature. Considering animals or theoretical man's organic machinery, I feel that by calculated chemical action after the failure of natural processes, we can overcome death artificially.
Mr. West, what are you talking about here? Reanimation?
Reanimation relies on condition of the tissues. Unless actual decomposition has occurred, a corpse fully equipped with organs may with suitable measure be set going on again in this peculiar fashion we call life.
You mean to say that this little piggy was once dead?
I've treated an immense number of subject species, but I'm beginning to understand this will involve a lifetime of research. Unfortunately, this version of the solution works different on different species, and thus we would have to run some tests so it could be recalculated to be...
So you need subjects? So you come to us for corpses so you may go against God and bastardize the genome? We've heard enough of your obsessive Lovecraftian science fiction. There'll be no more morbid testing in our facilities, and if this continues, your career will need more than chemicals to reanimate it. Well, I guess it's over without a lab for the tests. But hey, the guinea pig, he looks great. Your serum must have worked.
Don't be daft. This is a fresh specimen. The abomination lay in ashes in a pit behind my boarding room. Listen, men like us will always seek a solution, and I entirely intend on finding this one, but I understand your concerns, and if your fascination in my work has subsided, you have no need to follow me.
Oh, I don't quite understand what you got going on in there, but I know it's something, and I'm kind of sick of nothing.
Years passed, and I kept my work at the college. All the while, I continued to be his enthralled assistant, and helped with all the decisions, including concerns for a suitable place for our loathsome work. It was I who thought of the deserted Chapman farmhouse. The place was far from any roads, and in sight of no other house, but precautions were still met for what we called our chemical laboratory. On the ground floor was an operating room and a lab, both with dark curtains to conceal our midnight doings. In the college we used an incinerator for the bodies, but the apparatus proved too costly for our unauthorized lab, so we equipped ourselves with spades and picks for the many burials we would perform in the cellar. I have always been tolerant of the doctor, but we had never had to procure our own anatomical specimens, and to hear him discuss the ways and means so openly was rather ghastly. We followed the local death notices like ghouls, for our specimens demanded particular qualities: fresh death, all organs present, free from malformation. We found the Potter's Field to be our best option, for the corpses in Christchurch would surely be embalmed, which would be ruinous to our research. In the end, Lady Luck favored us at the expense of another, an ideal specimen, a brawny young workman who had drowned only in the morning before, and was buried at the town's expense without delay or embalming. That afternoon we found the new grave, determined to begin work soon after midnight.
Whew, how much longer you reckon we'll be out here, Doc? Moon's getting mighty low, and I think I've been hearing howling coming from that cloud of bats.
No time at all. I've struck pine.
Henry Armstrong. It's a bit unsettling knowing their names, isn't it? My condolences to you and your kin.
Sturdy youth, large frame, grey eyes, brown hair. No psychological subtleties, vital processes in the simplest and healthiest sort. Alas, what I have always longed for. Now there is scarcely a chance of success, but I have calculated this new solution to fit. What did you call it? Armstrong? So there should be no partial reanimations like before.
I was expecting them to be more spectral looking. He looks kind of asleep. How can you know he's actually dead?
Because of this small thing here.
Is some sort of thing.
I cut off its pinky toe.
You don't think Armstrong is going to mind a slight lean to the left?
Egad, you're right. I've gotten ahead of myself and forgotten to consider the feelings of the good man. Well, Henry, how do you feel?
This waiting is gruesome. Maybe the serum didn't work.
Impossible. Improbable. Maybe I truly am getting ahead of myself. There is a space after death where delicate cerebral cells might well have suffered deterioration.
I admit I was truly in awe when thinking of secrets to be told by one returning from the dead, and what he can relate if fully restored to life, but equally, what effect would it have on the mind and impulses? It was a man, yes, but what ghastly thing would be returning from the void to...
Wesley. The window. Go to the window.
We made it back to the doctor's room, where we whispered with the gaslight until dawn. By then we had calmed ourselves a little with rational theories and plans for investigation, so that we could sleep through the day. But that evening there were two items in the paper. The old deserted Chapman house had inexplicably burned to an amorphous heap of ashes, which we understood as we ran away, but the other item, wholly unrelated, was that an attempt had been made to disturb a new grave in the Potter's Field, as if by futile and spadeless clawing at the earth. That we could not understand, for we had patted the mold very carefully. For 17 years the doctor looked frequently over his shoulder, and complained of fancied footsteps behind him. And now he has disappeared.